Thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Dili Uzubakum. Today on the program, senators, reps, summon service chiefs over rising killings and abductions, seek urgent action against insecurity. And later in the show, President Tinubu orders timely conclusion of minimum wage talks as NLC President Joe Ajaero says most state governors in the review committee are not paying minimum wage. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. So ready? Let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. It is said that the true peace is not merely the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. The dust over the Adamawa State governorship seats has finally settled. The Supreme Court has upheld the victory of Governor Amadu Fintiri in the 2023 governorship election. The Apex Court held that Senator Aishatu Dahiru Binani's appeal was vague and incompetent, adding that it found no reason to compel the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to withdraw the certificate of return it issued to Governor Fintiri. We've always maintained all along the process. When we saw the way the process was going, and as a TV station, we took a stand and we said we saw the national TV giving airtime to Senator Aisha Binani to give her acceptance speech, and we maintained it all through that time that, look, there was no such thing. That from the result on ground, from what INEC has completed so far, there's no such thing as saying that Aisha Binani, Senator Binani, won the election.
Yes, and that's why I look at people who say, oh, Jide and they are APC. I just look at them as ridiculous people. Because you were right there at the scene. You could have sided with the APC. If indeed you are an APC journalist.
I was reported.
Yes. I was here. We did a program that day. It was a Sunday.
Yes,
we did a program and we stood by the truth. Yes. We didn't say, oh, this will hurt APC. Let us know. So those ridiculous people, they will say, he's APC. Oh, he's this. Sometimes I wonder what the matter is with them. Because they are selective in judging people. And the same people, will see another journalist blatantly pro-labor, but they will not say anything wrong about it. That's the way we are. And it's such a shame that we decide which side we take based on ethnicity, based on religion, based on how you think people will react. If you are a journalist and you always bother yourself about what people will think when you say certain things, you are not going to say the truth. You are not going to say the truth because you will not say, if I say this, APC members will be hanged. They will say, no, this station is owned by an APC person, this and that. All of those considerations do not matter to a serious journalist. A serious journalist sides with the truth. A serious journalist is biased on the side of the truth. That's the way it should be. So on that day, we knew that Aisha Binani was joking. We play too much in this country. How can somebody call himself a wreck? Went beyond the bounds of decency and legality and went on to announce a result at a time when election had not ended. Collation was still being done. And he announced the winner. What in the world could have prompted that man? A man who rose to the level of a PAMSEC in a state.
Lawyer.
Putting himself to shame in the manner that he did. We had to tell the truth. And we had to remind those who are jubilating at that time that no, this thing has not ended.
Social media, congratulations.
Yes, for the first time we have a woman as governor, elected governor for the first time. You know? The truth is the truth. There's nothing anybody can do about the truth. If you cover up the truth on one side, it's like a mole. It will come out at the other. You know that mole, that little insect. a lot of the insects that we were familiar with when we were growing up, they are extinct. So many people tell them about the mole. They've not seen the mole before. They didn't live in the village at any point in their lives. They've been in Lagos, all concrete. They've not interacted with nature. Yes. So you've not seen the mole before. The mole, it will burrow into the sand. You think this thing, you won't even feel movement, and then it comes out
The other side.
the other end. That's the way the truth is. Cover it up. It will find a way to rear its head. Fintiri won that election. It doesn't matter which party it belongs. And I've said it, that look, if we sit here, forget about what people are saying. Oh, he has changed. This is not the Babajide we used to know. Babajide, since Tinubu won the election, he no longer says the truth. Ayo is his boy. Ayo only says the things that he wants to say. He asks him only the question that he likes. Ask me any question, Ayo. I double dare you. Ask me any question, I will give you the answer.
Ask it now. That's our job here now. That's what I do here.
Why didn't we support the ridiculous thing that Rek did? It was a choice between standing on the side of the truth and being seen as a shameless journalist sitting in the studio as a purveyor of falsehood. That time will not come. We will never do that.
Whenever it suits them. Dotun, we saw the way the thing went, and immediately we're giving the 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock resumption time for collation, and the person that was meant to do it was even the returning officer. The rec just came there that day with the commissioner of police and everything, and he just held on to a sheet of paper. Even though a party agent just removed the sheet of paper in his hand, he still went ahead. I thereby declare, he did declare the other results.
It's a shame, and the man is paying for it now. Even if it's just his freedom that is restricted now, he's paying for it. Because you don't behave in such a manner and think you'll get away with it. Believing that the person you are working for is going to be able to protect you. The court has shown us that clearly now. That person can't protect you. Even that person couldn't protect herself.
Yes.
So how do you go all out to do? Now, if you ask the people of that state, except they have short memories, I'm not sure they are going to go in that direction again. Because what she did during that election was unbelievable. What the Reg 2 did, unbelievable. In fact, in a Senate climb, both of them should have gone into oblivion. She shouldn't even have had the courage to go to court, to go and challenge that election.
That's the famous vision.
You know?
The party agents were, they were challenging it.
Almost threw the state into
yes.
violence.
Honestly,
That's
people
what
were waiting anxiously for 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
This was 9 a.m.
That's what would have happened.
I was wondering what he was doing because his mouth never ceased.
He must be chewing on something. He must be chewing his own mouth.
Kept chewing on something.
Because
just watching. You see, even when he stops, it will seem like he's eating. Maybe it's Goro that he was eating or something.
I think it was his mouth because even the Goro would have finished it.
This was the drama we got.
What do you take the?
This was the drama was subjected to.
It's ridiculous.
It was.
We must always stand by the truth.
Yes.
And that's why this
Truth
program has lasted this long.
Yeah.
Truth
Ultimately, we did it, and
This is our 10th year. The people
Truth is key.
continue to side with us. Not the people believe that because you didn't say their candidate won the election.
Yes.
Therefore, they see you as somebody who does not believe in it. Their own version of the truth. You know, their own version of the truth is that a particular candidate won the election. If you do not agree that that candidate...
Or even predicting that the candidate will win.
Yes.
When you know that the candidate cannot win.
All kinds of predictions and all that. People who are incapable of winning, they were told they will win.
Yeah.
One of the notorious doomsday prophets has ended up in prison.
Yes.
He's ended up in prison
In life,
for violently raping a member of his church. So,
And even a pastor, another pastor.
we are here. Oh, that person was a pastor.
Pastor in their church.
Pastor raped pastor.
Yes, no, pastor raised
We are
assistant pastor.
tabloid headline writers.
Pastor
Why
raised
should have been
assistant
pastor
pastor.
rapes
Pastor.
pastor?
And ultimately, now let's talk about the process, Jide. The process of appointing the resident electoral commissioner is done by the presidency. With an INEC, we saw the limitation. So what INEC could do that time was to suspend the man.
Yes.
But they couldn't remove him because he was
They are
recruited
not-
by the presidency.
Yes.
That's the
You
kind
know,
of...
the day before yesterday or so, we had Okiro,
Okay.
former IGP.
IGP,
here.
yes.
And we were talking about the relationship between the PSC and usually the sitting Inspector General of Police. And he said there was a particular Inspector General of Police that never attended any of their meetings, never visited him. He will be invited, he will stay away. Because while the PSC promotes, punishes, and gives employment to policemen, the PSC has not got the power to hire or fire an IG. So that IG knew that
He was immune.
yes,
Many things that were
that they've not got the power to deal with him. So for that reason, he was treating them with levity. You know? So until the law changes, and the manner, and the president, for example, the power to appoint an IG is taken away, that sort of change will not stop. You look at individuals in the presidency, people close to the president, they were appointing, they were nominating their friends. And in most cases, nobody tries to check the background of those people. Whether the person being nominated is a bloody armed robber, nobody knows. You just nominate, you use opposition, you nominate. The president is not possible to know everybody. He approves who has been appointed. They told me the person who brought this Harry of a man. They told me. And I guess that because that person was very powerful in government at that time, one politician from the Northwest like that, you know, one minister from the Northwest, because that person was powerful, he must have felt that, look, what are these people going to do to me? You can't see the arrogance. He should be rotting in jail.
Honestly.
Because you can actually lead people to violence.
Yeah. That's this process.
Well, I think the most important thing is for everybody who is taking public office to have their fear of God and respect for the people. No matter how we try, everybody, just like BQ said, has his own bias. But you should be biased on the side of truth and the people
At all times.
Because if any of us now gets a position, we already have where we are coming from.
Sometimes it might not be convenient.
You know, but are you going to be able to discharge that duty with the fear of God and say, I'm doing this for the country and not for self, not for money? Because that's why a lot of people take up public office. They want to go and make money.
Okay.
That's why we are where we are.
Okay. Moving on now. Rising insecurity continues to dominate headlines across the country. And one instance is the killing of two traditional rulers in Ekiti State by bandits. Reacting to the sad development, Governor Abiodun Oyebanji visited the families of the late traditional rulers to commiserate with them. Governor Oyebanji also pledged that the killers of the two traditional rulers will soon be arrested. Let's hear from the governor.
It's an unfortunate incident. It's very sad. It's painful, unexpected, because Ekiti State has been extremely peaceful. This is an affront on us as a people. I have absolute confidence in the ability of the security agencies to fish out these people. On our part as a government, we continue to step up our efforts at securing our people, because that is why we are here.
Very terrible, ugly, and dreadful scene. Seeing the remains of a traditional ruler on the floor. being shot by these bandits and kidnappers. I mean, this is an ugly situation, very unpleasant, because we need to secure our people. And when you see these bandits attacking, we have been embarking on Forest Combi. The governor has been supportive, but this man, federal government, please come to our aid in Ajoni SCDA, come to our aid in the local government, come to our aid in the Ekiti State. We need to begin to fortify and secure the life of our people. I'm crying.
Actually, this is a big embarrassment, and a lot of people are saying that the vigor in which they used to fish out the killers of the Owo. If you remember the Owo, those guys that went into a church in order to kill people, it took long, but they were apprehended. And these people must be brought to book, whoever the perpetrators.
You know, I trust the DSS that if they get involved in this, they will find these guys. We saw those who killed Baba Faro's daughter.
Yeah.
They were arrested, all of them. They were arrested and put on trial. You know, there is a pressing need now to secure the Southwest. The Southwest is the most secure part of our country, by far more secure than the Southeast. Somebody was saying yesterday that insecurity in the Southwest is now worse than the Southeast. There's nothing that can be farther from the truth than that. In the Southeast now, policemen, if you know the number of policemen that have been killed,
Silent.
policemen, they even go into their homes, bring them out and kill them.
And that fact that you're a policeman.
Yes. Some of them, these days, they don't drive their cars, they get into public transport, they still fish them out. They use women to identify policemen, and they are killing them. Many policemen are asking to be transferred out of the Southeast. I know one, this Akwa Ibom, the state, one boy had just fled from Anambra, and he came to Akwa Ibom. He said, I'm from this state. This is what will take me out of the police. That the killing, that the day Nigerians know the number of policemen who have been killed in the Southeast in the last 1 year alone, they will be dazed. So these are
major targets.
Yes. Policemen, soldiers.
They are endangered.
Policemen. The guy who is in Finland throwing stones into his own country, he's been repeatedly telling his people to go for soldiers and policemen, anybody in uniform. So they are endangered species. The point I'm making in the Southwest has undoubtedly been the safest geopolitical zone in our country. And when the Americans issue their travel advisory, they usually leave out the Southwest. It is for a reason. You look at a state like Lagos, the kind of bloody kidnapping that happens in the Northwest, they don't happen here. A traditional ruler was traveling along Zaria Road. They opened fire. They killed some of his guards. The traditional ruler just managed to escape. They've kidnapped emirs. How often do we see that? Do you know how many hundreds of students have been kidnapped in the Northeast, even in Kaduna alone, in Kebbi alone? How many students have been kidnapped in the Southeast and Southwest put together? So I'm making the point that the Southwest is the most secure part of our country, but the leaders must not relent. And we know where the flashpoints. Amotekun, as a security corps, has to be taken seriously. All those governors playing politics who didn't want to do Amotekun, they will have themselves to blame in the fullness of time when they have no peace. This is the time to commit themselves to the Amotekun cause and defend their homelands. They've got to do that. The forests have to be combed. The people causing trouble and hiding in the forest, keeping the people that they have kidnapped in the forest, they should fish them out, show them that the Southwest is not a place where they can operate. if the governors don't do this, then they don't know what they are doing. They don't know their job. Because your job is not simply to go to Abuja. Many of them spend more time in Abuja than their states. Your job is to keep your people secure. And what we are seeing now is a matter for concern. Somebody told me that even in one forest around Ogbomoso, that some criminal headsmen were moving in. They've got to go and deal with them where they are. That's the job of the security people. They've got to go and deal with them. We can't allow the killing of traditional rulers. I mean, it's shameful. It has to stop. And they must get these guys to teach them an exemplary lesson.
In the same state, I think Governor Ibanji is having this kind of challenge now. In the same state, we were told yesterday that some students were even kidnapped at Ekiti.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just about the same period that it happened. It's a big challenge to the governor, who has, in my opinion, maintained a very level,
low profile,
you know, and just doing his work, and
it's less,
you know, no acrimony, no nothing. You can see construction of roads and all of this. This is a real big dent on his administration. But the thing we need to do, one BQ has said, Amotekun must be given the teeth with which to bite in all Southwest.
empower them.
Empower them. Let them be able to do that job. We've been talking of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps having forest rangers. We need them, because just yesterday, 5 men were arrested in the forest in Ekiti. What are you doing here? They said they are cattle rearers. They are herdsmen. Where's your cattle? None. They had 2 motorcycles with them. They had daggers, they had this. So, what are you doing in the forest? No answer. And what we have seen is that these people are in the forest, they come, they attack, they go back. So, we now need to go into those forests and ensure that they are secure. Just like Vicky said, in Ogbomoso, a lot is going on.
Yes.
Some information is that some of them are even moving towards Oyo State. I mean, into Oyo town and coming towards Ibadan.
Very close, no?
You know, so we really, really need to.
And so it's a big forest in Oyo, there, stretching up to the border with Benin.
Benin, yes. Big one.
That's
where even
the forest reserve.
Yes.
It's a forest reserve.
It's a forest reserve. All the ones that go into Niger, like that. And then you have the one that will go into Kwara North, where people who steal vehicles in Lagos, they go to the border and sell to them.
Yes.
Across Nigeria's border.
Those are cheaper in the Kwara area.
You know, so they go in there.
Also and just border routes.
Yeah.
Illegal routes.
And sell it there, where they would have killed people here, take their vehicles away. So we need to pay attention to those forests. They are, like people say, gold mine, which we are not paying attention to. So they have turned it into a criminal den. So we need to look at the forest and ensure that something is done. Let's even make money out of it instead of allowing these people to take over and run it the way they want. So if we do those, we should be able to have some comfort. But for Amotekun, we must empower Amotekun now for the Southwest.
Empowering Amotekun will create the controversy, will bring up the controversy that has been on ground before, because they are saying that they should be empowered to at least handle AK-47 rifle, not ding guns to confront people with dangerous ammunition.
Yes, people who have GPM, who have AK-47, RPG, you know, and rocket-propelled grenades. You are confronting them with ding gun. It's not easy at all. Look, there are many things wrong. Even the law has to be amended to allow states to protect themselves, because the central policing system, in terms of the security of our country, the police are in the forefront of the security architecture. homeland security. The police are in the forefront. It is external aggression that the military should bother themselves about. So now, what is the state of the police? They don't have the right equipment, they don't have good training, and they do not have enough weapons to take on these people. That is why the police are failing, and soldiers are getting involved in internal security. There is a lot that we need to change. We must arm those guys to be able to confront these good-for-nothing people. Otherwise, we will not solve these problems. We won't solve these problems. Now, today, Zamfara launched their own internal security outfit. It's going like that. Katsina, too, launched the other day. So those who are still saying, no, we don't want state police, nothing...
if you wish to amend the constitution,
when the time comes and it gets to this point with us, nobody will tell us when we will say, okay, this is what we are going to do. Every state has seen now that you can't rely on the police. They are looking at their own security. All of them are doing it. All of them are doing it. I remember when I moderated the MBA conference, the Amotekun commander from Ondo State, he got a standing ovation when he analyzed how they are protecting the people. And they are doing a good job in Ondo State. To the point that it even helped them to improve internal generated revenue.
All right. We'll take this, brother. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Home from work, in the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with life. Brilliant lights, loud music, smiling wife, all welcome you.
We alone have light?
Yes, it's JRB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar street lights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. JRB, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. Our final take on this security, especially when it comes to Ekiti State now, the governor will have to work with the federal government and something must give.
Something must give, definitely. Like we said, the strongest point of Amotekun in the southwest is Ondo State. Other states too can take a cue.
So Ekiti State governor should take a cue for what is happening in Ondo State and invest.
Yeah, let's learn from what is happening in Ondo State. All other states
to
can
strengthen
our internal security.
They have to strengthen it.
Strengthen it.
So that
kudos to the late Arakunrin.
Yeah, he did very well.
He fought for it. He did everything.
Governor General.
Yes,
that's the Governor General. He did well.
When you go to those states, the structures for Amotekun to succeed are there. Provided them with everything, and the determination is there. Going to even their headquarters, you see clear signs. Efforts had been made in the past to give them a bad name, to turn them against the army and all that. Those efforts have failed. And the good thing is that the state also found a way to amend their law to allow them to prosecute these beggars. Yeah. So because without prosecuting them, you
just hold them.
You just handing them over to people who will now
let them go. That's what happens.
That is the greatest fear now.
Who will come back the next
What is the essence of your pain? your sacrifice. If at the end of the day,
did you see the criminal telling the policeman who arrested him that I'm coming back for you?
If I come back, I will change it for you.
I will change it for you.
He was already handcuffed to the
vehicle.
So that he will come back.
He was
come back. I will serve my time. I will come back. If I come back, I will change it for you. You and your family.
That's his language. I will change it for you. So,
that's a bandit or kidnapper.
Knowing that nothing will happen, that you will.
No, that's the feeling that I had.
How will you hand over somebody that you arrested and they allow the person to come back free? That's a huge problem.
No, shedding the.
No, it happens. The guy who led them, that former SARS man, that joined them in the operation in Ofa, that bank robbery, where they slaughtered policemen. You know, he had been arrested before for collaborating with armed robbers. They released him. He now continued. You know, they dismissed him, but he continued to work with armed robbers until they caught him that second time. I don't know. I've not read about that, but
okay,
I'm sure a good number of them will have traveled.
All right. The price of greatness, they say, is responsibility. And there is no better time than now to pursue this in Nigeria. The Senate has summoned service chiefs for an interactive session over the rising cases of kidnapping, banditry, killings, and other criminal activities across the country. The president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, directed the service chiefs to appear before the senators next week towards finding a lasting solution to insecurity in the country. The House of Representatives has also issued such summons. Doju, we see these things and it's becoming glaring and becoming daring. Well, a lot of this insecurity across the country.
It's something that a lot of people have come to regard as normal, which is very unfortunate. And unfortunately, too, what we have seen over the years has been what, this interaction with service chiefs, what people now call talk shops without action shop. So, if we have been summoning them, we have been talking about these things, what have we brought out? What have we brought away from there? What are the takeaways that have been implemented? Yes, at some point, we saw things improve. And when this new set of service chiefs came, we had high hopes, very high hopes. But like I always say, this war is not a conventional one. It is not between Russia and Ukraine. It is between well-trained operatives across board, whether it is the military, the intelligence corps, DSS, police, and people who don't care about rules, who want to just ambush and run back to where they have come from. So it's not as if they give time, we are coming to attack at this time, or you are looking in one direction for the attack. So it means we must really go back and begin to talk about our intelligence gathering. Also, begin to tell Nigerians, let it sink in all of us, that security is the business of everyone. So that when you see something, you say something. In a lot of places, we've always had, even governors say it. Look at the case of Plateau. When we learned that those who attacked them during the Christmas period, 24th, 25th, they've been living with them for so many years. But the indigents were scared to speak up because they said they were going to attack them. What happened at the end of the day? What happened? They eventually attacked. When you get to a point and somebody says to you, you must pay me tax for you to be able to go to your farm, for your children to be able to go to their schools, you should be able to speak up. Because at the end of the day, it's like somebody who has kept a cobra at home. That cobra is going to grow beyond what you are feeding him with or python is going to go beyond what you are feeding him with and demand for more. So Nigerians need to begin to speak up. I cited so and so around this area so that those who are supposed to have the information will have it. Look at the way Nigeria is structured. In some areas, even in the southwest, where we say we have a lot of presence within square kilometers, far more than the north, there are some areas you even still travel for 30, 40 minutes inside the bush, practically. So how do our police, how do our security operatives man all of those areas if they don't get information from the locals? We need to be speaking up. The massacre you mentioned in Norway, something preceded it. Some people saw something before it, but they didn't speak up. So we need to get to that point where we begin to speak up. But on the calling of the service chiefs, it's good that the Senate and House of Reps have decided to move in this direction. But I still find it that we have been doing this over the years. What have we brought out of it? Because that's my own question. Will this be different? If it's not going to be different, then we should allow the service chiefs to be on the field.
During the last administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, I remember many editions here, and we told President Buhari that, look, your administration will be remembered for this insecurity, and this insecurity is capable to blight your
all the
achievements and everything. And it became worrisome and a source of concern. Now, this is now a major concern. If the House of Representatives, in their opening speech yesterday, the Speaker spoke about it, the Senators, Godwin Akpabio, spoke about it, and I think it's as a result of this that this is now becoming so alarming and uncomfortable.
Yes, everyone is concerned. I didn't expect that security will get this bad, you know. And for me, the reason for this is obvious. We have not been proactive enough. It appears the service chiefs are still using the old strategies. We have to rely a lot on intelligence gathering and identify where these guys hibernate and take them out. It's such an embarrassing situation, the rate at which they are attacking Abuja, for example, those satellite towns, Buhari especially. These days, once they wait for you to pay ransom and you don't pay in good time, they will execute you and dump your remains at a road intersection where your people can identify your remains. Look at the impatience that drove them to kill that girl, Nabia.
Yeah.
You sent the dad. The dad was kidnapped along with those six sisters. They told him they released him to go and find ransom. And because he couldn't raise the money that they asked for, they killed her and two others. You know, just to send a message that, look, we are not playing. You have to go and look for this money. How do they continue to use their phone lines to negotiate when we spend so much money on this NIN? What is the essence of NIN? How come we are unable to use the resources at our disposal to deal decisively with these boys? What's going on? Why should a criminal
demand for ransom
feel comfortable to make phone calls, to negotiate?
They negotiate for ransom every day. They update it.
What's
bring it down.
Going on? They can negotiate. You shouldn't even be able to use your phone
At all.
but they are using their phones here, and we are not catching them. Okay. So we've got to, these service chiefs, they have to read the Riot Act to them. It's not simply to call them and have what looks like a judge session and then everybody departs. You must let them know that Nigerians feel let down, that Insecurity is escalating, and we are not seeing signs that they are on top of the situation. You have, the National Assembly members have to speak to them on behalf of Nigerians, show the anger of Nigerians to them. That is the only way. And I've said before, the president has to set KPIs for people. As he set KPIs for
these service
chiefs,
as he did for the ministers.
As he set KPIs for them, he has to be the one that personally sets that one, not Hadiza. You are the commander-in-chief. Set KPI for these people. Give them the marching order.
Bandits in Zamfara, in Katsina,
I'm giving you time. Whatever you need to get rid of these bandits, ask me to provide. I will provide. If you need 3 months of sustained offensive against them, I will provide what you need for a 3-month offensive. But you must succeed. You must succeed. Yes. If you don't succeed, I will get rid of you. The president has to be able to tell those service chiefs that, look, I'm giving you, and the police and the IG, I'm giving you this much time. I want to see improvement. If I don't see improvement, I will send you packing. You've got to be able to do that. We don't have a choice at this stage. Otherwise, this thing will degenerate, and even places where we thought was safe or were safe, some of those places too will be overrun by these good-for-nothing bandits.
And finally, as the economic hardship in Nigeria bites harder, the federal government is striving to bring succor to citizens. In this regard, the federal government has inaugurated a 37-member tripartite committee on a minimum wage. At the inauguration, Vice President Kashim Shettima tasked members on timely resolution and submission of their reports as the current 30,000 naira minimum wage expires at the end of March. Meanwhile, the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajero, has criticized the selection process. He stressed that most of the governors drafted as members of the committee are not paying the current minimum wage. If the foundation is shaky, what shall the righteous do? If members of the tripartite committee, if they are accused of not paying the 30,000 minimum wage, and you want to negotiate for increase in minimum wage, and we are looking at maybe 120,000 or 200,000 perhaps for the minimum wage for the worker.
It's going to be a tough one. And we must quickly realize that and be prepared for the consequences. Now, yes, there is an agreement that every 5 years, we must change. But that agreement must also be based on certain realities, certain parameters. And if we are not careful, we are going to end up with a lot of industrial disputes, especially in states. One of the states,
some of these governors defaulted on even 18,000.
18,000.
They couldn't pay it.
One of the states that the NLC president mentioned was Borno. Borno has been going through what it has been going through in the last 10, 12 years. When you look at what the governor is doing, as much as he's paying attention to civil servants, teachers, health workers, the critical ones, he also has his focus on those who are not civil servants, who have been displaced from their community.
In fact, that is his focus.
And that is taking a chunk of government.
Everything.
And we are still looking at him as not paying the 30,000. Imagine that he now has to pay 120,000. You know, I've said it a couple of times on the program. What we should focus on as a country is getting to strengthen the Naira. We are almost now a dollar economy, people are no longer doing business in Naira. It pays them to do it in dollar.
Naira is powerless.
Because Naira it's even every day. Last week, somebody wanted to buy a property. They went and negotiated on a Friday or Saturday when dollar was about 1.3. By Monday, when they got back to the owner, he said he wasn't selling again. That dollars, that when he changes his money into dollar, he won't get any.
Why does he want to change his money?
because that is what they are doing now with the Naira. That's how bad it is. So we need to get to a point, in my own estimation, where we are able to strengthen what we have now, so that when we increase, inflation does not finish everything. Because the moment you increase money for the civil servants, which they do need, no doubt about that, the private sector is going to call for increment. By the time you do that, goods and services will go up, skyrocket. Housing, transportation, and all that.
Quickly, looking at this is a law. It is sacrosanct.
Yes.
By March, the 30,000 naira thing, would have been outdated.
Yeah.
And looking for the law to, upward review. So, just the two is saying that, no, they should strengthen the naira. But this increase is like a must. We must increase it.
Let's not forget that the Buhari regime did not follow the constitution. Yeah. Jonathan increased minimum wage 2011. It took the President Buhari, up to 2019 before they were able to agree on a minimum wage, 30,000. So they didn't even follow the 5-year minimum wage thing, as stipulated in the law. A government-mandated minimum wage is expected to be obeyed by everybody, every employer, because it stipulates the minimum that you can pay to a worker within the borders of Nigeria. But we see states not paying and nothing happens. We see employers of labor not paying and nothing happens. So the question is, why is it in our laws that we must pay minimum wage or so? If you can simply look away when people choose not to obey what the law says. I know that it will be a lot worse this time. And I can predict that this negotiation, the president wants the tripartite committee to speed up negotiation. But I know it's not going to be easy because labor will dig in. Everyone can see that the economy is collapsing. Disposable income is shrinking badly.
Very bad.
So that will set the tone for the discussions on minimum wage. I was doing some research, and I found that in 1970, our minimum wage was 18 naira. 18 naira was our minimum wage in 1980. I mean, in 1970. Then in the year, we went to 250 naira per month in 1991. But in 1981, it was 125 naira. 1981. There was a strike at that time. It was a very, very difficult time for the government. But in the end, they settled for 125 naira in 1981. Then 1991, 250 naira. Year 2000, 5,500 naira. 2011, 18,000. And then we had that one, 30,000. the point that I'm driving at is what Dr. said earlier. Our naira has progressively declined. That's why you find that in 1970, just 18 naira was minimum wage. In 1981, when Baba Sumonu and others fought vigorously for a new minimum wage, it was 125 naira. 125 naira. Some of these things we say to people, they will think you are lying.
40 years.
But that was what it was. And 1991, 250. 250. Year 2000, 5,500. But the currency was strong in 1991. Our currency was very strong in 1981. Stronger than the US.
Abacha, it was
Stronger than the US dollar.
22 naira.
22 naira.
Yes. No, the 22 naira was the official.
Yes, I remember.
It
was the one that
exchange rate. It was the official exchange rate. I think even at that time, people were exchanging for like 40, 40.
Yes, not up to 50.
40, 44. Yeah. But the exchange rate, the official window was 22 naira. Now,
official window now.
Official window now is almost 1,500.
Yeah.
I think 1,400. Close to
about 1,400.
Official window.
Yes.
No, at a point,
parallel market.
Parallel market. At a point yesterday, it overtook the parallel market.
1.3 something.
Which is unprecedented. It exchanged at the official window higher than the parallel market. That was what I found intriguing. I know that something must give in our country about this dollar thing. The president will have to show himself strong. In Saudi Arabia, if you exchange currency in the black market, they will behead you. They will behead you. Everybody must go
to the BDC.
To the BDCs, the banks, go and exchange. In our country, black market, there's nowhere in the world that I know where the black market in foreign currency has been allowed to operate the way it is in Nigeria. Try South Africa. I gave that example yesterday. You can't use it. If you have the dollar, you can't use it. Nobody will take it from you. They will think you want to set them off for arrest. They won't take it from you. Why should you spending the dollar anyhow? People will steal our money.
In some hotels. That's what
people will steal our money.
No more naira.
They say they will now convert it.
No more naira.
You have to stop. The governors who, once they collect the allocation, they set aside 25%, convert 25% to dollars. Something has to be done about them because I know this. It's not as if I'm
like
just... Yeah, you take... No, who audits their security vote? Nobody now. They allocate security votes to themselves. Nobody asks them questions. Whereas in the past,
have to go.
Buhari jailed people for spending security votes. Today, you can spend it. You are not subject to audit.
All right, we have to leave it there. Dr. Wallo, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Istoju.
Thank you.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakum. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.